Hello, you're watching Crash Course Literature. I'm Kat, and my colleagues Theresa and Shauna will be discussing Jonathan Swift's Gulliver's Travels with you today. Mr. Rennes, are we going to talk about the movie version of Gulliver's Travels, the one with Jack Black? Oh, me from the past, how naive you are. Absolutely not. The only Jack Black starring film I'll be watching is The School of Rock, and maybe Kung Fu Panda 3. Depends on the ratings. Also, that movie only really focuses on the first part of the novel. Today we'll primarily be focusing on part 4, A Voyage to the Country of the Houyhnhnms, aka the Horse People. Jonathan Swift was an Irish author who was born on November 30th, 1667, and lived during the English Age of Reason. He is perhaps the foremost prose satirist of English literature. He has written works such as A Tale of Tub, A Modest Proposal, and The Battle of the Books, but is most commonly known for Gulliver's Travels. This work is a satire, which is a literary art of diminishing a subject by making it ridiculous and evoking towards its attitude of amusement, contempt, scorn, or indignation. This shipwreck narrative is used to satirize many things in his time, but more about that later with my colleague Shauna. Gulliver's Travels was an immediate huge success. Witty and controversial, the novel's protagonist intrigues all kinds of readers with his travels to several foreign islands. For some young readers, it's a comically absurd tale about Gulliver's journeys, but to most, it's a satire on controversial topics in our world. Here's Shauna to talk more about the background of this time period and how it relates to the novel.
At this time in England, there was a shift toward logic and reasoning. The Restoration, 1660 to 1785, saw a scientific movement through people like Sir Isaac Newton and Descartes. Religion, especially Puritanism, lost social and political influence. At the same time, literature began to embrace conventionality. The neoclassical period is recognized for its respect for convention and standards like symmetry, balance, grace, and order. The age deeply valued the powers of human reason. Jonathan Swift is one of the best-known essayists of the time period. He employed a dry, satiric wit to skewer human idiosyncrasies. Swift was beloved by his native Ireland for frequently attacking the English exploitation of his people. Swift utilized both Horatian and Juvenalian satire in his works, though in part 4 of Gulliver's Travels he employed mainly Juvenalian satire. Luckily, I have this handy-dandy Gulliver's Travels to read you an excerpt to demonstrate his use of Juvenalian satire. By what I could discover, the Yahoos appeared to be the most unteachable of all animals, their capacities never reaching higher than to draw or carry burdens. Yet I am of opinion this defect ariseth chiefly from a perverse, restive disposition. For they are cunning, malicious, treacherous, and revengeful. They are strong and hardy, but of a cowardly spirit, and by consequence insolent, abject, and cruel. It is observed that the red hairs of both sexes are more libidinous and mischievous than the rest, whom yet they much exceed in strength and activity. Theresa will now summarize Gulliver's travails in the land of the Houyhnhnms.
Looks like we're running a bit late. I guess the synopsis will have to be pretty swift.
Oh my god.
It starts off with our faithful protagonist, the author. This time he is being a strong, independent woman and heading his own ship instead of being just the doctor. This turns out to be a pretty bad decision as his crew throws a mutiny against him. Better luck next time, man. He gets dropped off at the nearest island and is basically told, "Good luck! See ya, don't wanna be ya." Which honestly, if you had read the rest of the book, you shouldn't be surprised at this point. Fast forward a little bit and we find the author to be in a bit of a sticky situation. He encounters these strange creatures we later learn to be called Yahoos. And no, we are not screaming Yahoo when we see these bad boys. They give chase and corner him at a tree, and they proceed to, and I quote, discharge their excrements on his head. The author is saved when these savages begin to run away as though they saw Justin Bieber approaching. It was not him, but in fact a horse. Well, 2 horses actually. The author is approached by these majestic beasts, and they begin to inspect him. See, they think that he had been horsing around, and they wanted to get to the bottom of this tomfoolery. He tries to pet the horse, but it gets offended. It talks to its co-horse, and the author soon realizes that they have a sort of horse language. No, their throats feel fine. They're not hoarse.
Yahoo!
Yahoo? Yahoo? Yeah, what are you guys even saying? I don't know.
The author soon picks up the language and learns more about the Houyhnhnm society. I'm not lying when I say that they don't have a word for lying. Since they're so virtuous, they never lie. The author soon understands how despicable human nature is and hates himself for being a part of it.
Oh my god, I'm a Yahoo.
Husband, thou art home!
Get away from me, you foul beast!
After living with the Houyhnhnms for 5 years, the Houyhnhnms decide that he must either leave or work as his peers do. His master advises him to leave and gives him 2 months to construct a boat and leave. He consoles himself into a life of solitude until he is spotted by a Portuguese ship. He is taken in by a man named Don Pedro and returns to his home in England.
You're now an expert on Gulliver's travels, and I hope you enjoyed this video.
Crash Course is written and produced by Shauna Dowis, Theresa, Pelosi, and me. It was edited and directed by myself. This episode was filmed in the gracious Randolph Public Library and was made with the help of these nice people. This episode is dedicated to Mrs. Kessel and her Period 1 AP English class. Thank you for watching, and as they say in John Green's hometown, don't forget to be awesome.